Hi everyone, and welcome to the third in the series for rendering in Rhino. Well, it's a bit of a whoopsie there. A quick reminder that I've got my materials attached to this little figure that you can, if you're in the rendered mode under the viewport, these are the different modes. You can check out what the materials are going to do, and you can also play with any one of these materials as far as the sliders go and just get an idea in real time of what you're likely to get. Okay, so it's not 100%, but it gives you a pretty good idea. All right, now I want to be able to attach this black ink or assign the black ink to just the eyes and the mouth. So the way to do that is to subselect these objects. The way to subselect is to hit the Shift and the Control button down at the same time, hold them down, and then you can subselect either a face or an edge or a vertex. So one of those three. All right, so let me show you a quicker way of doing this because I want to be able to isolate that object, and you can do that in Rhino. Under this light bulb, you cascade it. The fourth command here is isolate object, select the object, and then say OK. Or you can pre-select the object and still do it. Now, to get this right, there are a number of ways of doing it. You can, once again, it's Control Shift or Shift Control, and you can marquee select. That could select, as you can see here, it could select more than one object. Another way of doing this is to go to a viewport which has got the wireframe in it, or to change this one. Either way, I've maximized that. I'm going to show you in this front viewport. If I hold the Shift Control button down, I can marquee select across faces. If it's in shaded mode or in rendered, you can't do that. If you select these, you can only select the visible faces. And you can still marquee select if you know where those objects are, but it's a bit of a guessing game. So yeah, easiest to do it in the wireframe mode and select the objects you want. Go across to your materials, say assign to objects. Let's put this into rendered mode. There it is. Okay, now here's a neat little trick. This command here I'm going to use a lot, and that one there I've been using a lot. So I want to put them into my toolbar. The way to do this is let's cascade this. Hover over the item you want, hit the Control button down, and you'll see the text changes to copy link. Drag that item, let go of the Control button, and then let go of your icon in the place you want it to be. So let's do that again. So hold the Control button down, wait for the copy link to come, drag your item, let go of the Control button, and then let go of the icon. So those two are now in my properties bar, so I can access them very easily. I'm going to unisolate by right-clicking, and there we go. There all my items are ready for rendering. Let's go to the render. Oops, I've actually scrolled to the render tab. Just a quick reminder, you're going to be choosing Rhino Render as your engine, current viewport as the view, and then you can change the resolution and quality by selecting this dimensions button and selecting custom. Currently it's at 769 pixels by 644. I've set this to 2000. If you tick the locked viewport aspect ratio, these two will change in lockstep. So if you make the first one say 100, you hit enter, you'll see the second one changes accordingly. So let's push that back to 2000. And then the DPI is independent of that. That can go up to as much as you want, but you don't want to go beyond 300. I'm going to leave it at 72 for now. And then draft quality is where it's defaults to. You can go from low quality to final quality. The higher the quality, the longer the rendering, obviously the better the rendering, but you want to leave it at draft quality in the beginning just to check to see what you're getting is what you want. Otherwise you're going to waste a lot of time. So I'm going to go back to viewport resolution just for now, and let's go to the backdrop. So under backdrop, you've got 4 options, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And these are exclusive to themselves. So if you say solid color, you'll get whatever your color is. You can change the color by clicking in that bar and then moving this around. Gradient, right, so you can, same again, you can change this. Let's put a nice big red thing just to show you what happens. If I render this or preview render it, it'll show that gradient. Okay, I'm going to say cancel that. I'm going to go back to that one there. I quite like it. And then the 360 environment takes an HDRI, that's a high definition resolution image, I think. Anyways, whatever it is, it's a very high res picture which is taken with a 3D camera, and then it's dropped in a dome formation onto your scene. You don't see it, but the lights from that picture or the image of the lights get used as lights themselves and reflections. So this one you can render just to see what it does. Sometimes it gives you pretty pleasing effects. You can see it's taken the background away, the green background, and it's put in whatever. It's actually put in, as far as I know, the ground plane or something like that. Let's have a look quickly. We're not going to worry about wallpaper for now, but you can see if I click it, these other ones stop being activated. So let's go back to solid color. And if I say transparent background, this will render now with a transparent background other than the shadow and the actual figure. So this is great because you can make sure you save it as a PNG. If you do that and you save it, it'll save the image as you see it here. So these little checkerboard items will be transparent. Then you can drop that into your graphics software with a dedicated background. One way of doing it. All right, so I'm going to switch that off for the time being. Let's have a look at the ground plane settings. They're selected at the moment. If I unselect it and render it, there'll be no ground plane, no shadow. Just a flat color. Right, so with ground plane is where you choose either show shadow only or use a material. Don't worry about this for now. I mean, this just sets the height above the XY plane. You can set it if you want to be a bit higher or lower. I'm going to say use a material just to show you what happens. Currently it's plaster. You can choose from one of the materials you've created. Let's say stainless steel. That's going to give me, if I render this, it's going to give me very bright, strong reflections, which is you might sometimes want. And there's a little bit of a glitch, it seems, in Rhino 7 in that if I now change this back to blank, which is white, I might get something like an artifact from, there we go, you can see this shadow, sometimes it's pretty strong, seems to go back to the last material. If that happens, just go back to this and click on show shadows only. So you can see that's a much gentler object, sort of shadow. And then if you definitely want the ground plane, use material. That should fix it. I'm not sure if that has, but anyways, that's not a bad shadow. Okay, so that's what you do with the ground plane. So you can change the background or you can say show shadow only. I'm going to select show shadow only for now because I want my solid color to appear. And actually I want the gradient to appear. So that's going to affect the appearance of this thing because these colors will be reflected in things like the hand and the head. Now, the most important bit that's going to control what your image looks like are these two, the sun and the skylight. I've set the skylight to, I think it's 1 as a default at the moment in your settings if you've copied mine. And I've got custom environment on. So if I switch this off, it's just taking away that HDRI. So if I render this, it's going to be a little bit duller. Might be what you want. And then the moment I switch it on, let's go back to this one here. You'll see, so now it's picking up all of the lights from that HDRI and pushing them onto the object. Bit overlit at the moment, so I'm going to drop this down to 0.5, so that's gone a bit duller, and then this is the big one, well, between these two, the sun and the skylight. If you click on the sun settings, it defaults to on, and then you can select, if you want, you can select a place, like what's it like at the Ivory Coast at whatever date, like if it's in December or January or wherever, and the time. You know, you can go to nighttime if you want. I don't find that useful. Rather, switch on manual control. Now you can see in real time what happens when you change the azimuth. Azimuth just means where the sun is above you or to this, whether it's close to the horizon. So the closer it is to the horizon, obviously the longer the shadows and the stronger the effect from behind or in front. So if I go like this, you can see I'll get maybe a little sparkle at the back. Let's just render that and see what happens. It's actually gone back to, it's changed. Oh, I should have said okay. You've got to say okay once you've got what you want. Strong shadows like this, you've got to say okay. Right, if I render this, it should give me like a darkened front face. Okay, the reason why it's lit up is because I've still got the skylight on. So sorry, this is sounding a bit complicated, but it just switch off that one there, and even the skylight, right? Then you'll get this very kind of darkened effect, as if the sun's coming from behind. Okay, so let's switch this back on. Right, so between these two sun settings, I've got it 0.6. Let's leave it at 0.6. Normally it defaults to 1. If I put that on and say okay. In fact, let's put these back to something which lights up. Oh, that's right. I wanted to show you in the real-time render what happens when I move the azimuth. You can see this leg is going to be very bright. That's not going to be what I want. There we go. That's something more suitable. So I'm lighting up just a sort of a highlight on the Lego man's hip and then on the helmet. So this is a very, very effective way of controlling where the lights are and what they do. So I want to move this around a bit, something like that. It's pretty strong. That's looking strong because I haven't got my custom environment on. And you can actually change the custom environment direction as well over here. I don't know how to see what the effect is. You have to play with this and see whether it's doing what you want it to do. So let's bump this up a bit. Right, okay, so I think in my sun settings, this is coming from the wrong direction. There, that's what I want. Say okay. It's almost what I want, but not quite, but it doesn't matter. I think this is good enough. You can figure this out yourself. So let's render this finally at a high resolution with a very much larger rendered image. Let's make it 200 dpi and let's make it good quality and render it. Now don't use the render preview, make sure you render it because you are going to get a much stronger effect using the render button. It's going to take a little while to think. Okay, so that's maybe a little dark, but no, it's good, it's good. And you can check at the bottom to see the progress. You can see that currently we're on sample 5 of 500. You don't have to wait till the end, but if you let it run to the end, it's going to give you, a much more detailed rendering. If you get to a point you decide, well, this is good enough, that's all I want, you can stop the rendering. So let's get to say 12 or so. I'll wait till 11, 12. I don't think it makes much difference. Stop the rendering and then save it. So you can save it as, I'm going to save it as that one there, overwrite it, and that's how you do it. All right, so that's how you render. I think I've given you the most effective, quick way of doing it. You can play with lights, but I'll show that to you in another video. Cheers.